Okay. Hi, this is Jenny from Hope, Love, and Tat, Healing After a Breast Cancer Diagnosis. And I'm excited to have Kimberly here. She is Reverend Dr. Kimberly Marooney. She is the founder of the Angel Ministry and president of Gateway University, a school for the study of higher consciousness. And when angels want a new energy on earth, they go to Kimberly to bring it to us. Her beloved angel blessing cards are the best example. And if you've been on Hope, Love, and Tat, you've seen me pull cards before the Tats. And, and this is the book. If you buy it, this is the cover you'll find. And Kimberly joyously shares the love, healing, and blessings of the angels internationally. And to learn more, you can go to angelhealingfirstaid.com or kimberlymarooney.com. And I actually got your angel blessing cards when they first came out. I was still in college. I was living with my mom, and I would pull angel cards, kind of like shaking the 8-ball, And then as I started to use them more and more, I just really felt them and felt the angels around me, and it became very powerful. And then I remember one day I was sitting home. I had toddlers. It was years later. And I looked on the back and I was like, I'm going to Google her. So I Googled you, and there you were. And I took your class and became part of the Angel Ministry. And it's been amazing ever since. Velma is also part of the Angel Ministry, and just amazing. And I just read your new book, The Little Book of Angel Healing, First Aid from Heaven. And I read it on my Nook. So I'm going to just pull up a picture. And you have the book right there. I love the colors on this book. First Aid from the Heavenly Realms. And I just love this book. It's really a collection of meditations, activations, guided imagery, a lot of tools to really help us. And there's 3 parts to the book. First, you teach us how to connect and access the angels. Then you go into the angel cures or healing, and how to, you cover so much in there. And then how to make the angels an integral part of your daily life, which I love. So when we do the Tat sessions, it reminded me of the meditation on the silver platter, where you put the silver platter out. That's our little bundle, and we do the Tat. But before I start asking you questions, I was wondering if you would pull an angel card for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm using angel blessings cards. And this is Ramayela, the angel of joy, which I think is perfect for today, because the angels have been telling me for years that even when I was going through my own health challenges and I could hardly move, I could hardly get out of bed to go to the bathroom or feed myself. Sound familiar? The angels started telling me, joy is your passport. And I would think, what? And eventually, as I worked through my health issues and my life issues, joy became actually the leading factor in my life. And even as I progress now, it's joy that carries me forward. My spiritual guidance is always saying, follow the joy. It's the joy that brings us into higher states of consciousness. It's joy that heals us. It's feeling that joy that's not connected with anything. It's like peace for no reason, joy for no reason. It's that joy that helps us to connect. And the angels come to us. I love this picture that I found. The angels come to us bringing joy, bringing peace, bringing truth, to awaken our hearts to the more of us that there is, awakening our hearts to our muchness. There's so much more to us than just our physical bodies and our emotions, our thoughts. There's so much more to us than who we think we are. And that's what the Little Book of Angel Healing is all about. It's about helping us find our way into our muchness, into our inner beauty and our inner grace in ways that are really simple and elegant and everyone can do.
Yeah, there's women in all stages of breast cancer in this group, and some are just starting out, and that fear is something that is hard to get past and find any joy in anything. And a lot of people kept telling me in the beginning, this is going to change you for the better, look for the good stuff. And that's really hard to do. So I like the meditations where you take the fear away and that's helpful a lot.
So we actually have a remedy on fear. Do you want to just jump right in and do the fear remedy?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Fear has been one of my greatest challenges. I was afraid of everything, including myself, including my own power. And I didn't have cancer, but I'm always ahead of the curve. I'm a pioneer. And I had some interesting things before anybody knew what they were, and couldn't diagnose it, couldn't treat it, because they were just starting to discover that possibility that could go wrong in our human bodies. And so as I went through my own healing, fear was a huge part of it. And so the way I wrote Angel Healing is that if we can find what's underlying, what's the root cause of our health challenge, we have a much better chance of healing it. And we can just start working top down. Fear's on the top. Okay, let's start with fear and let's see what's next under that. So let me find the fear chapter. I'm afraid all the time, chapter 9, page 59. So chapter 9, let's see if I can get that in the right place. There we go. I'm afraid all the time. The way the angels invited me to write these chapters, it was kind of fun how the guidance lines up with, sort of formulas. And in a book like this, it's helpful if there's some similarities all the way through that we can rely on. So the first thing is story. And so I took these stories they're very short. I took them out of my own life. And I also went through 10 years of emails. And I took a long time going through 10 years of emails from people, capturing the essence of what they were asking me, so that this wasn't only my challenges, but the challenges people have been contacting me about for a long period of time. And they don't change much, we all are facing the same thing. So the story is, circumstances in my life feel threatening. Well, how perfect is that for a cancer diagnosis? Send divine intervention, really straight to the point. Please protect me with courage, fortitude, and strength. So this little story is a compilation of many emails that I got in my own life. And so I tried to do these stories in that just really direct to the point formula. This is the problem. This is what I need. Help me. And so, of course, when we're afraid, who do we need? We need the protection angels, which is with Archangel Michael. And they are our first responders. So it took me a while to allow this term first responders to come into my consciousness. We see that all the time now in the news. There's so many disasters. I think the first time I became aware of the first responder term was with 9/11, when I was stuck in Costa Rica, unable to come home because there weren't any international flights, completely freaked out. And they talked about the first responders. They talked about, the heavy toll that responding to 9/11 took on the people who were there first on the scene, especially with all the toxic chemicals they breathed in and, that whole scene. But the first responders, we see that over and over when there are earthquakes or floods or fires. It's the first responders. Well, before the people can even get in there, our angels are there with us. They're with us always. They know we need them even before we know. So often as these disasters are coming up, the angels are already in place. Those first responder angels like Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, they're already in place to give us the courage, the protection, and the love we need. So on this first responder protection team, there's a team of angels. So that's the next part, enter the angels. So on the protection team, there's Archangel Michael. There's the angel of fortitude to restore our power and ground our energy. There's Archangel Nisroch that helps us to find freedom from fear by activating our angel powers, which are in another chapter. And then there's a meditation to help us feel safe, to help us feel protected. And may I just jump into this meditation?
Yes, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Okay. So some of the meditations I received from the angels, and some of them I was guided to find in different places. And do you know Lorraine Cohen?
Yes, she's
Yeah.
part of the group. Yes.
Lorraine Cohen is one of my longtime heartfelt friends and buddies. And when there have been a few instances where I was panicking about something, like on a trip to Europe, I got sent in the customs office, I got sent into the back office because I hadn't prepared properly. I hadn't done my research. I didn't say the right thing as I was crossing the border. And so I ended up in one of those back rooms getting interrogated. And while I was sitting in the waiting room to go in and get interrogated, I was absolutely terrified. And one of the things that Lorraine has taught me was to look around and say, I see a lamp. I see a picture. I see a table. There's a chair, carpet, wall, window, sunlight. And just by identifying things like that in my greatest terror, I could sort of settle down and focus on, well, what's real now? Because our fear is so imagined. What's real now, where that table there is real, the carpet under my feet is real, the window is real, in this material world. So when I was working on angel healing, looking for something to help us when we are truly terrified like that, and I've had panic attacks, I get that real deep terror. I found Rick Hansen, who's a PhD and a neuropsychologist who specializes in helping people feel happy. And so he created this is a short version of this beautiful meditation online I found from Rick Hansen. So let's close our eyes right now. And it always helps me to put a hand on my heart, to feel my body, to feel my heart, to breathe into my heart, to breathe into the love that's in my heart. So that when I'm afraid, when I'm really terrified, I can start by just connecting with myself. Breathing into my heart. And to know you're safe right now, this moment. So in my greatest fear, I've actually been safe in the moment where I was so terrified. There hasn't actually been anything wrong in that moment. And so this meditation brings us to know you are safe right now, this moment. You may feel emotion or pain, but you're safe. There is no threat of danger now. How does that feel? Nothing is attacking you now. You have air to breathe. You are okay. Feel protected. Notice the walls around you or the sides of your car. You are in a relatively safe area. Recognize how you are protected. What makes you feel safe? Who cares about you? Really, think in your mind, who loves you? Who cares about you? See them in your mind, feel them in your heart. Does feeling cared for help you to feel safe? Be at peace. Allow the sense of being safe, protected, and cared for sink in. Relax into feeling at peace. Breathe in peace. Let your body relax. Let your mind slow. Take action. What do you know you need to do to live a safer, more empowered life. So take a moment to reflect on that. What do you know you need to do or adjust in your life so that you can feel safer all the time, every day? So that you can feel more empowered. And from here, I'm going to read for you a prayer that was written by my friend Sunny Dawn Johnson, and it's in our 365 Days of Angel Prayers book. And this is an invocation to the archangels for protection. I invoke the blue light of Archangel Michael to surround and protect me. I ask him to bring me courage and to protect me from negativity. I ask that the brilliant blue energy of protection be placed over me, allowing only that which is for my highest good. I invoke the white light of Archangel Gabriel to envelop me in his energy of purity and peace. I ask that he help me to communicate from my heart through my words, thoughts, and feelings of light and love. I invoke the golden red energy of Archangel Uriel to fill me with wisdom, clarity, and vision. Soothe all conflict in my life and replace it with knowledge and understanding of the bigger picture. Help me make choices that are wisest for my personal journey. In closing, I invoke the green light of Archangel Raphael to pour health and well-being into my body. Help me to allow the healing to be received wholeheartedly and guide me to my own natural healing abilities. Thank you, and so it is.
Amen. That was amazing. Thank you. That felt really good. I could see that being really powerful when, we have to go for a scan, or we just get new news, or when sometimes just our minds take us to that fear without anything happening. So what an amazing tool. I'm so calm right now.
Yeah.
I do want to show the 365 Days of Angel Prayers book. This has obviously 365 days of prayers, and that one was in here. And today is the equinox, so there's the prayer for that. And this is a really powerful tool when, you're not, some days you just want to pray and you're not sure what to pray. It just seems to be perfect when I open it. So
yeah, you can either scroll through for the right topic, or you can just pick the prayer for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And there are amazing people who contributed prayers in there.
Yeah, is Velma in here too?
I don't think Velma contributed to that. She was in the middle of a pretty big crisis when we were doing that.
But she did the rosary, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I love this book. I've gifted it many times to people, and they love it too. And then you also have these cards, the Angel Love cards,
mm-hmm.
which you mentioned one of the angels from this, but now
yes.
I'm a little spaced out from the meditation. But these are gorgeous cards too. The images. My favorite image in this one is where the very first one, where the angel's hands are all around. I love all your stuff. So
so when I'm creating stuff like this, the angels asked me to create something, and excuse my language, I don't know what the fuck to do. Are you sure you're asking the right person? Because I don't have a clue how to do this. But when I relax, it's kind of like that fear meditation we just did. I get all clenched up in fear. I don't know how to do this. Well, of course, my little personality has no idea how to do this. But when I can relax and allow the greater part of me to come forth, that's the part that knows how to do everything. So as I was creating the angel love cards, I had a really powerful meditation where I was in the spiritual group that I was with for 15 years. We meditated a lot on the floor. We had a lot of emotional release work. My husband had recently died. And so I was in a very deep state of grief and anguish and fear and pain and all kinds of things, lying on the floor, praying very passionately and deeply and dynamically. That group was nice because it gave us the opportunity to be able to scream and shout and pound on pillows, and people would come and help us, and so we could feel supported. Mm-hmm. So I had gone through this long, lengthy, probably hours long, because our meditations were often long. So I'd gone through this lengthy meditation, releasing that fear and pain, begging, pleading, asking, calling for help and love. And I ended up very quiet on the floor on my back. As I was breathing, I can't find the love card. Anyway, I'll let go and tell you the story. So as I was lying on my back breathing, all of a sudden, it's like this joy trickled in through my breath, and I just started to laugh. And then I could feel the air coming with every inhale. This love was like caressing and massaging and tickling me from the inside out. And then I could feel the carpet underneath my body was holding me. I could feel how the floor was holding me with love, and the carpet was so soft and holding me. And then I could feel how my clothes, my shirt, was caressing my body with love and peace and joy. And my hair, I could feel my hair was love. My hair was just love. And I'm lying on the floor, and then I feel all these hands all over me, touching me, caressing my face and stroking my hair and stroking my body and just helping me to feel just loved. And this feeling of being caressed was so visceral that I actually opened my eyes to see if somebody was there actually loving me, because sometimes, we do that in that group. It was really that. There we go. It was such an amazing group. And so I closed my eyes again. I felt these beings all around me. I felt these hands loving me. And I just laughed. I think for an hour, I just lay there laughing, feeling this amazing sense of being loved. So later, when I was creating angel love cards, oh, here it is. It's over on the side.
I was waiting for you.
Later, as I was creating the angel love cards, and I found this image. This was painted by one of my favorite pre-Raphaelite painters, James Tissot. And there's several of his paintings here in the angel love cards. He did these most amazing pictures. And, if you love Jesus, this is Jesus. If you don't care, if you're not Christian, it doesn't matter. It's somebody lying there on the ground. However it is, that's you. So I encourage you to see that as you lying there on the ground, being the recipient of all this amazing love that's being given to you. So that's how the angel cards came up. I had to find images, or I was blessed with the opportunity to find images that relayed experiences that I'd had with these beautiful beings. So it was quite fun doing that.
That card, that image, when I'm in an MRI or I'm somewhere uncomfortable, I kind of feel that image, and or laying in bed not feeling well, that image comes to mind. It's been a powerful card for me to remember that you're not alone.
And one of the things that helps me when I'm in the MRI, and there's all those knocking and banging and there's noises that can be scary, is I've learned to reprogram how I perceive those. And I perceive them now as higher vibrational energy that's come to lift me up into something new. So instead of being afraid while I'm lying there in that funny little tube, with the thing.
I get very claustrophobic.
Yeah, I've come to see it as the angels are holding me in love in this beautiful space of higher energy and higher consciousness.
Much better.
I try to reframe my experiences into something that's more enlightening.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better than what goes through my mind when I'm being sent in the tube. Like,
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. Now, when you talk about the angels being a daily part of your life, it's obvious how, you can use the meditations when you have a quiet moment or something. But when you're like in your daily life, can you explain how we can use the angels to help us feel better?
You want to have some fun?
Sure.
Okay. So this is actually one of the practices in the angel healing book. I can't remember which one. I think it's the one that has to do with conflict. But when you're out and about in the world, or even when you're just at home watching your family, like when your kids are getting in a squabble, or when they're bored and they don't know what to do and they're acting out just because they're bored out of their minds, or there's some tension in the family over something new that's happening, because I know you don't get out much. but when you're out in the world, like if you're in the grocery store, or you're in the bank, or you're, wherever it is that you have to go in your life to, carry forward. When I'm kind of in a neutral brain state, like when I'm standing line at the grocery store, or when I'm picking out tomatoes, or when I'm doing my things at the bank, or you can tell in most places I go as the bank at the grocery store. Or, every now and then I go with my husband to get a coffee at the coffee shop. I don't drink coffee, but I like tea. When I'm just standing there, my natural default program for my mind is to look around and find something to judge. So that's just its natural default program. I've been watching it do that for a long time, and I've gone through a number of different practices or exercises to kind of have fun with it and see where it might happen, to see what else can happen. What else is possible when my brain is doing this little judgment thing? Because I've been through stages where I've got even more judgmental that I was judging, and that doesn't help. So a couple of things I've tried is, let's say I'm in line at the grocery store and my mind is judging the clothing of the woman in front of me. That's one of my mind's favorite things to do. Well, I'll take a breath, and often when I'm at the grocery store, I have not even brushed my teeth. I didn't brush my hair. I didn't brush my teeth. I've got some clothes on. I'm there. So, hey, I'm seeing a reflection back as my mind is judging this other woman in front of me. I'm actually seeing a reflection of myself and the lack of care I took in showing up at the grocery store. And that's where I can love us both and say, oh, well, if I'm feeling this lack of worthiness, she surely is too. Otherwise, why would we be binging back and forth off of each other? So if I'm feeling unworthiness from somebody, it's because I'm feeling unworthiness in myself, and the two are coming together and saying, oh, gotcha, here's some companionship. Well, what if in that moment when we can recognize that, we can just take a breath and say, oh, isn't that sweet? What if I can breathe us both into a state of peace? As I've practiced this, I've watched the people take a deep breath and sigh and just relax. I haven't said anything, haven't made any contact. But as I relax and find peace in myself, I'll watch them take a breath and just relax. And I think, wow, isn't that amazing? What a gift I've just given both of us. And what a gift she's given me by giving me this opportunity. So the one that's in angel healing that's really fun is, let's take it a step further. Because what if we are all masters in various disguises? And what if, as we're sitting there on the couch watching the kids or our husband, or we're in the grocery store watching other people, what if instead of seeing them through eyes of judgment, we can instead look with our inner curiosity and our inner vision and see the energy that they are? What if we could see this beautiful spinning vortex of color and lights that is their full being? What if we could tap into that and use that little flash of judgment as, oh, hey, there's an opportunity here, opportunity, and to see them as this beautiful swirling energy being that they truly are, and then to perceive ourselves as this beautiful swirling energy. What colors do we see? How is the energy moving? Is it in a pattern? Is it in a shape? Sometimes I will just see a column of light with maybe some colors in it. Often it's just white. Sometimes I will see like a tornado of spinning lights that's larger at the top and getting smaller down in the bottom. I see a variety of different things. Sometimes I just see a little color blotches here and there. But when I can go into an experiment and think, oh, let's have some fun with this. Thank you, brain. Thank you, default programming, for alerting me to the fact that something else is possible. Then I can recognize the master that this person is, the master that our children are. And for you, your children are such masters. They wouldn't have come in with you with the challenges they have if they weren't masters coming in to work through whatever it is that they brought in to bring healing for humanity for. And it's the same for you. It's the same for all of our viewers. You're not walking this journey for you alone. You're walking this journey for all of humanity. The more healing, the more courage, the more health, the more joy you find, the more you are adding that possibility, that opportunity into universal consciousness for all of us.
Yeah, I always say, I think it helps moms, especially, when you're having a tough time, you're not just working on this for you. Your work is when you reach this goal, or you get more enlightened, or you figure this out, it's magically figured out for the rest of us. It's like it moves forward to your children and backwards to your, the people before you, your grandparents and your mom and your dad. It's just magic. So I love that. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Our healing is multi-generational. Mm-hmm. It goes to our children going forward into the future. It goes forward to their children. It goes to their cousins. It goes to our siblings. It goes to our parents. It goes back to our grandparents. It is truly multi-generational when we heal. So the effort that we take is a tremendous blessing for everyone.
Yeah. So when it starts to feel like it's too much, I think that really helps. It's not just for me. It's not just for the people right in front of me. It really does spread out into the world and to, globally, raising the vibration globally. So it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it happen in my family. I've watched my healing just quietly under the covers affect and change my family members in ways that are surprising and very beautiful.
We did a forgiveness sheet on and Hope, Love, and Tat a couple weeks ago, and that is the same energy. It's just magical the way you can forgive someone else with the sheet or without, and it changes how they are to you. It really does. I've seen it happen. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a meditation that I've done for years. It was in Shirley MacLaine's book so many years ago, the one where she walks the journey, El Camino. Mm-hmm. And she says, if someone's bothering you, kind of like, you were saying my kids or whatever, you take a crayon and you put the red heart, or you pretend to put a red heart around them and then just pour love into it until they calm down. And I'm a counselor. I used to work with addicts, and I was in the admission department, and a woman came in and she was very high and very crazy. And I started doing that to her, and she actually quieted down and sat down. That was the most amazing time I've seen it work, because it was so dramatic. She was hyperverbal and manic and crazy, and then she just sat down and was like,
thank you.
Yeah, so it worked. You definitely worked. Yeah, very cool.
Beautiful. I like that. Thank you, Shirley MacLaine.
It's the same energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're using it in everyday life, and we're using it to heal. This book has so many uses, and you cover so many topics too, because so many of us, before we even were dealing with cancer, had abuse or food issues or any type of addictions, things we were working on, relationships, or we were looking for our soulmate, or there's just so many things in this book to work on. It's a really great book. Thank you for writing it and bringing it to us.
Well, we have to find out what's underlying. So, a lot of times with breast cancer, with cancer, there's some kind of a self-hatred, or there's some kind of a self-judgment that's underneath it that makes us vulnerable to a disease. And, what is that? Like for me, I was just on the edge of death for about 10 years twice. And it took a lot for me to peel the layers down through, what is it? What is it? What is it? But the final layer that I found that helped me to finally heal was that I had a belief that it wasn't possible for me to be healthy. And, if you have that kind of belief hiding deep in there, it's not possible for me to be healthy. There's no way, no amount of healing is going to heal you, because that belief is creating the reality that it's not possible for me to be healthy. So when I finally found that one, and I looked at it and really held it in my heart and loved it and tried to even see where it came from. I still don't know quite where it came from. But when I could love that and see that, no, it's not true, that's when I started to heal. And, these little hints come from all kinds of funny places. Like, back to that spiritual group that I was with when I was lying on the floor and had that beautiful experience. They would occasionally have us learn about saints, because the saints, we think of them as a saint, but what we don't often realize is the immense amount of suffering they went through in their lives to become the saint that they are. And one of them was Bernadette Subaru, I think Subaru or something. She was in France. She was a young girl who who saw Mother Mary. And she kept seeing Mother Mary. And nobody would believe her because, she was just a kid. But she kept seeing Mother Mary, and Mother Mary would give her these just ridiculous instructions to everyone else. Like Bernadette saw Mother Mary in this hillside, and Mother Mary was saying, there's a spring here. And she was saying, there's only dirt. And Mother Mary was saying, no, there's a spring. So she's digging with her hands in the hillside, and Mother Mary was telling her, drink from the water. And she's saying, there's no water here, there's just dirt. And Mother Mary was saying, drink from the spring. So, her friends are there looking at her, trying to pull her away, because now she's putting dirt in her mouth, trying to trust. She's in such a state of connection. She's putting dirt in her mouth because Mother Mary's telling her to drink from the spring. And so she's saying, well, there must be a spring I can't see. So she's got dirt on her mouth. Her friends are pulling her away, and she's just panicked, trying to dig. And as her friends are pulling her away, and she's continuing to dig, this little trickle of water comes out of the side of the hill, and her friends stop pulling her. And she keeps digging, and pretty soon they're all digging, and then this water comes out, and it became one of those healing water places where everybody goes in France to drink the water and get healed. But in her own life, she was from that period of time where when you have a kid, you don't know what to do with. When you have a girl, you don't know what to do with, you give them to the convent. So because she was having these crazy episodes with Mother Mary, they just gave her over to the convent. And the family felt like they had blessings from that, gifting their child to the convent, gifting their child to God. But Bernadette ended up having... The other nuns were very cruel to her because of her experiences, and they assumed she thought she was special, and she was just a very humble child. But in her early 20s, she got a bone tumor on her leg, on her knee, and she was in horrific pain. And she never told anyone because, they wouldn't listen to her anyway. So she's out in prayer, she's stumbling because she's limping and stumbling, and they're beating her, telling her, don't stumble, don't limp, what's wrong with you? And eventually she just collapsed and went unconscious. And when they pulled up her skirt to look at her legs, they saw this huge oozing tumor, and they thought, oh my God. And then after that, they were kinder to her, and she died very young. But she kept repeating, they kept trying to take her. The whole purpose of this awful story is they kept trying to take her to the spring and give her the water. And she kept saying, it's not for me, it's not for me, it's not for me. And that was like my mantra. It's not for me to be healed. It's not for me to receive this healing. And yes, it is for me to be healed. It is for me to be healthy. So when I could finally get to that underlying program and release it, that's when health came. And that's the beauty of all the different remedies in the Angel Healing book, is as we realize we're grieving, as we realize we're afraid, as we realize that we're in conflict, or we're angry or resentful.
Yeah, the resentment one really, I think we all need to do.
Yeah. Or we
don't even know we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we work our way through in deeper layers of healing, eventually we can find down to that. What is it that it's at the foundation that's holding this health challenge in place? What is that foundational belief that I can release to again become healthy? So here I am at 62, the healthiest I've ever been my whole life, because I was sickly most of my life up until about 10 years ago. And it was all of that spiritual work, finding that deep underlying belief, finding the worthiness to be healthy, that brought me to healing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm working on worthiness as well, because I do feel that energy of like, oh no, you go first. Oh no, everybody else goes first. Oh no, I'm here to help you. Mm-hmm. And I have to get some of that energy for me too. So yeah, I work on that. But you know, it's almost like you never know when to stop working on it. I guess you don't ever.
Well, there's always an expansion. So I have some good news. So in the early days of my own work with spirit and my own transformation, good stuff came out of tragedies. So as an example, angel blessings cards came out of the near-death 10-year health challenge that I have. And it was on, lying on the couch, actually wanting to die. I was in such suffering and wanting to die, praying. This very deep prayer came out of me: Lord, I don't care what happens to me. All that matters is that I feel your love now. That the angels came and filled my living room, and that's what became the Bridge to Spirit, or the Angel Blessings cards. And many of my earlier co-creations with spirit were coming out of tragedy in my life. As I worked on those tragedies, though, and healed, and just like in that the fear exercise we did, I looked on how to make my life safer, more balanced, more loving, more supported. Little at a time, year after year, I got to the point where I'm not having so much drama in my life. I'm not having these huge, massive challenges all the time that are earth-shattering. Although my mom just died, that was a pretty earth-shattering thing a week ago.
I didn't know about that. I'm so sorry.
My mom just died. And so I pre-wrote grief. So now I've got the grief remedy in here for now as I work my way through that. But then I started asking the angels, well, I don't want to co-create out of disaster anymore. Can't we do this from joy and fun? Here we are back to the joy angel. Let's co-create through joy and fun. And so that's when a whole new phase of my work with the angels came in, where I didn't have to create some kind of drama in my life, where I could allow it to be gentle and joyful and fun.
We can just tell the angels, I can hear you without the disaster.
Yep, we can do that. Thank you. I don't need any more disaster. I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Now, you also have websites. I love the activations are amazing. Is that on KimberlyMarooney.com?
They are not. I need to put them on there, but they're all scattered through the book. So I had some fun in the book creating these sites. And so let's see if I can find a few of them in here. So as you're going through the book, you'll see something that looks like, okay, so I'm in the chapter on Open My Heart to Love, number 21. We had a taste of Archangel Shamuel's adoration and worthiness activation. And so at the end of this chapter, there's a little note that says, want more? Visit archangelsamuelactivation.info. And so when you go there, you actually get the essence. It's about a half an hour, the essence of the activation. And from that, there's a 2-hour class that you can then sign up for that has the whole experience of the activation, getting to know Archangel Shamuel and where this particular activation came from and who this angel is, how they help us in our lives. So I got to put 9 of those in this book. It was so much fun setting those up. And so there is a course that's called the Complete 7 Archangel Activations that has all 7 Archangel activations. It's 14 hours of class time, plus some really robust class guides. The whole purpose of it, though, is to help you connect personally with these archangels, to help you develop a personal relationship with them. So that you know how they feel, you know how you see them with your inner vision, you know how they communicate with you, and you're activated in your spirit to connect with that quality. That's really a beautiful experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it is really different for everyone. I don't see them. I just kind of hear them like a thought in my head, but I feel that they're there. And a lot of times when I was very sick, I could feel them holding my hand or next to me, or it's hard to explain, but once you figure out how they're communicating with you, and I understand why they don't show themselves to me, because I would probably run screaming. So they have to just make it a thought. They're like, okay, we don't want to scare her, make her run out of the house. And so it really is different and personal for everyone. It's amazing. Those activations are so cool. They're hard to explain, but I really did feel every bit of those activations, and it changed how I communicated with the angels even more. And the more that you do this stuff, the more that you do the meditations, the more peace you find in everyday life, and the more the more you trust yourself when you do get that message, which is very important in this cancer journey, because we have to make, we're given like all these decisions to make. Okay, like, do you want to do this chemo, or do you want to do this, and we're like, aren't you supposed to make that decision? You're the doctor. But they leave a lot of the decisions up to the patient. They give us a bunch of info, and then we need to use our intuition. So I think it's really important, even throughout the treatment that you're getting and cancer treatment, to get closer to your angels and really learn to trust yourself. So.
Oh, there you are. Sorry about that.
You lost me for a second. I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have other books of yours. I just want to hold up. The Angel Blessing cards are my favorite, of course. I've had them the longest. And then there's this little bundle where if you just want to meet your guardian angel, you can get her book on meeting your guardian angel. The 7 gifts of your guardian angel: protection, healing, acceptance, teaching, support, inspiration, and love. So in this one, I like to just open it and just read different parts of it will pop out at me.
I loved writing that one. That was the first book where I wrote about some of my own personal experiences. And my husband had just died from cancer when I wrote that book. And I felt actually suicidal after he died. I'm not the kind of person who would act out on it, but I am the kind of person whose body is really responsive. So if I'm feeling suicidal in my being, if I don't want to live, my body is really quick to manifest some kind of something that can take me out.
Right.
And so it was quite a razor's edge walk, feeling my feelings, feeling that not wanting to live, and realizing that if I wanted to live, I had to give myself a life that was worth living. And so that particular book has some pretty heavy parts in it, where I was working through, how can I create a life for myself that I want to live for? And like you with children, your children help you have that desire to want to live for them. And for me, being childless after my husband died, there was a part of me that felt like it had nothing to live for. And so that was a pretty big battle to get through, to recognize what's valuable in myself. What do I have to offer going forward? And to learn to live for that.
Yeah, it's heavy, but I think that's probably why I never have read this straight through. I have always just read it piece by piece, whatever pops out at me, because it is.
It wasn't really designed to read straight through. It was designed to read it like you're using it.
Yeah, that's how it definitely feels that way. But well, thank you so much for joining us. Your books are amazing, and I hope I'm going to post a lot of the stuff we talked about. I'll post it under the video for everyone. And thank you for becoming part of our group and blessing us with the meditation. And I really recommend this book. It's a great way to connect to your angels and heal and all of that. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. I've been following your healing journey, well, since the beginning, and been praying for you more than you know,
Oh, thank you.
and your children, your family, more than you know.
Thank you. I feel like this is our year.
Whew,
My daughter's back at school. Everyone's feeling better, and I'm feeling better, and my hair's coming back.
yeah, I was noticing your
Okay.
thick curly
This is
hair.
me trying to make it look smaller, but before I gel it, it's very big. It's so fun. I've
Excellent.
never had this curly hair before.
What fun. Go big, honey.
I will. I need a pick. I'm going to pick it big.
Yeah, blow it out. Go big.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate this.
Oh, thank you for the pleasure of being here with you. I love you all so much. All of you viewers, you have my love.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Okay.
Bye-bye.